the topic assigned to me was governance at the local community. I'm just thinking why, but perhaps because I'm from the Department of Social Forestry and Forest Governance in my university, and I've been involved with research in the communities, particularly the current forestry program now, which is community-based forest management program. Okay, so this is the outline of my presentation. Touch briefly on introduction, models of, I'm going to discuss also some models of community-based forestry project implementation, and then the case of the community-based forest management program in the Philippines. And then I have some few countries to compare with in terms of the project, the social forestry project. It's good that we have also participants from Vietnam, Thailand. I think I've chosen Thailand, Vietnam, Nepal, Uganda, that we will see later. Then I'll give you some summary and conclusions. Okay, as a way of introduction, I think this is very, could I move it? Because I could not. Oh, maybe, okay, I'll just choose this one. Okay, good. Okay, so let me define first governance. I'm sure you have already the definition here, but anyway. Governance refers to the setting, application, and enforcement of laws, which focuses on both the input side, which is concerned on the democratic processes, and the output side, which is concerned on the effectivity and efficiency of institutions. Now, it is equated with government for many people, which is the process by which we collectively solve our problems and meet our society's needs. And of course, it encourages collaboration among the various sectors, like the public sector, non-government agencies, local government units, and others. Now, what is good governance? This is always associated with development management, political science, public administration. It's equated with democracy, civil society, participation, human rights, and sustainable development. Some of the characteristics of good governance: we have participatory, consensus-oriented, accountable, transparent, responsive, effective and efficient, equitable and inclusive, and follows the rule of law. This somehow minimizes corruption, and also the major sectors of the society are also being considered, as well as those underprivileged, perhaps. No? So that's the essence of participation. Now, participation, which is a very important element of governance. Of course, at 3 levels. The first level, where people are just passive givers of information. So there's no commitment yet on their part, they're just passive givers, not proactive. And then we have the second level, there is more meaningful level of participation. Okay, so there's more commitment, no? Not much, but at least they're beginning to identify themselves in forest, maybe in forest management activity. And then under the third level, that's where empowerment happens, and that people begin to take control over the situations which affect their own lives. However, community participation does not adequately translate to empowerment, control over resources, and decision making. Sometimes what I mean is the control of power and resources sometimes rest in the privileged sectors of the society or the authorities. The community, therefore, must not simply be users or choosers of policies, but as makers and shapers of policies themselves. And they should be able to demand and acquire information from the government, and that they should also be able to hold their local officials available. Okay, I'll discuss some of the models of community-based forestry project implementation. As you see in the figure, the public forestry administration that pertains to the government side, and then we have the community. So the government, they are the best managers of forestry projects. They're directly implementing the projects. So the community, that is called super management model number 1. That is that the community are just supplying or providing labor for that particular project. Okay, and then we have another model, which is the super management model number 2. In this case, the difference from the first model is that we added the land. No? Land is being provided or owned by the community. Okay, and then this one, the government provides the basic inputs, no, to the community. Although there is indigenous knowledge on the part of the community, the government, no, they provide professional knowledge to the communities. That is called support service model. And then we have this partnership model number 1, wherein there is some sort of a contract between the community and the government, represented by the Public Forestry Administration. And then they have a joint agreement, joint commitment now to undertake or to implement the forestry project. So as you see, the labor, sometimes the capital, technical knowledge on the part of the community, some traditional and indigenous knowledge are provided by the community, and then we have also some inputs by the government. So the success of the project will depend on the commitment of both parties. So that is the partnership model, number 1. And then number 2, it's the same, almost the same, but we added some. The land is provided by the community. Some communities, no, having communal right in their land under their jurisdiction. Okay. Oh, just let me give you some information. Let's now go to the case of the Philippines, just to inform you a bit. This is the Philippines. We have information about the climate, the terrain. Oh, the last part is the natural hazards. You may know that we have lots of typhoons in the Philippines, an average of 15, and it could reach to 20. But I've heard that there are now typhoons in Korea. Maybe some of our typhoons are going to Korea. But we have a lot. In this season, August, September, October, that's the season of typhoon. Okay. Okay, about the people and culture, we have a population of 101 million. In Manila, we have a population, I think, almost the same as in Seoul. That's more than 10 million. Okay, but you have a population of around 50 million, so it's half. And we have the same, almost the same population in Manila. The official language is not English. We have Filipino, not English. It's not our medium of, even in the university, sometimes, no. We advocate now Filipino as the medium of instruction. But of course, we have also in the university, we have also foreigners. So even one foreigner in the class, the faculty, the professor is obliged to speak in English all throughout. So that's it. Okay, in terms of the forest data, we have a total land area of 30 million hectares, forested area of 7.7 million. Our Production forest is 76%, protection forest is 23%, and the forest under community management is 39%. Okay, so the Philippines forest cover has declined from 70.8 million hectares, or about 60% of the total land area, and that's in 1934, or 92% in 1579, so about 7.17 million hectares, or only 24% left in 2003. I did not include the 2000 more recent figure because the figures are conflicting. You know, they're still settling on the official forestry data. That's a problem, but we have some initial data in 2010 and 2011. Okay, so let me inform you about some of the programs, no, that took place during the Marcos administration. We all know our late president, Ferdinand Marcos, who was ousted in 1986. Yeah. So during Marcos administration, various management approaches were conducted for forest conservation and use. So the first one is forest occupancy management. That's in 1975. And that is designed to control the destructive land management practices of Sweden farmers and other forest occupants. We have a rampant destruction of forests caused by shifting cultivators. And I think that's also a problem in some of the Southeast Asian countries. We call themselves kain-mineros. So there is slash and burn farmers. Somewhat to address that, we have those programs. And again, in 1979, we have the we call it communal tree farming program. So in this program, every city or municipality were expected to establish tree farms where different stakeholders were also involved in reforestation. And then we have the family approach to reforestation. So the participants are families, which provided short-term contracts for families to set up tree plantations on public land. So basically our forests are state-owned forests, lands. No private forests. We have also the Integrated Social Forestry Program in 1982. So the forest land occupants were provided access to land or the rights to use or manage the land through a certificate of stewardship contract. That is some sort of a tenure where the farmers are being given the right to manage their piece of land for about 25 years. But even now, it is being renewed for another 25 years. So that's basically 50 years. Okay, now we have also the National Forestation Program, which integrated all reforestation efforts, and it was launched in 1986. And we have also the recognition of the rights of the indigenous peoples. So we have the Ancestral Domain Management Program in 1983, and this involves giving of tenure rights to indigenous cultural communities to protect the rights to their ancestral lands. So they have also that tenure system. Ancestral land domain claims, call it an ancestral land rights, yeah, some sort of like that. But there are two tenure arrangements for the indigenous communities. Okay, this is actually the current program. We call it the Social Forestry Program, which integrated, it started in 1995, and this integrated all people-oriented programs. So all social forestry programs that I mentioned earlier. So this started in 1995, so it has been implemented many years already. Of course, there are reports on the evaluation of the program. There are areas which have which show success of the program, but the other areas are not at all successful, and that is also related to the concept of participation, no? Participation among the participants of the program. Okay, so in this case, that's executive order that's being issued by the President, 263, and that is called Adopting Community-Based Forest Management as the National Strategy. So take note, it's not A, but the. So that means that it's the only national strategy for sustainable development of countries' forest land resources. Okay, so it's the only strategy, not one of the strategies. Okay, so as I said earlier, all people-oriented forestry programs were integrated in the CBFM program. Okay, what are the goals of that program? To sustainable management of forest resources, and then also we have the social justice, no, as a goal, and improve well-being of local communities. So basically, the objective is to develop human communities. No? So there are twofold objective of this. One is to uplift the socio-economic condition of the people, and another one is for forestry development. So you cannot fulfill one objective of forestry development not unless you help the people, no? Provided livelihood and livelihood opportunities and employment. Okay, in that case, they would become agents of forest development, not agents of destruction of forest. Okay, so this program allowed the community to employ the internal cultures such as indigenous knowledge systems and social organizations in attaining resource sustainability. Okay, so in terms of the selection of program areas, the DNR, this is actually the agency involved, the main agency involved in the management of forest resources in the country. That is the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So in terms of the selection of the areas, the DNR and the local government unit, so it's already partnership with the local government unit, identify and assess potential CBFM sites where a joint land use planning exercise is conducted to produce control maps. Those are some of the requirements, no, in order to get tenural arrangement. We have that is called co-management strategy. I mentioned about some tenural arrangements because we have plenty of tenural arrangements. We have what we call CBFM, that's Community-Based Forest Management Agreement. And that agreement is being given to a community that is still under the Community-Based Forest Management Program. So the community is being organized into people's organizations. So every CBFM area has a PO, that means people's organization. So they're being organized. And they're being given a tenurial system which is called the Community-Based Forest Management Agreement. And that's being contracted to the communities. We have also for private corporations, and we call it IFMA. That's the Integrated Forest Management Agreement. That's being given to the private corporations. And for individuals, we call that SIFMA, SIFMA, that is Socialized Integrated Forest Management Agreement. This agreement, as stipulated in the agreement, they're being given the right to manage the area for a period of 25 years. Again, and another 25 years. That's renewable. So eventually, 50 years period. Okay. Okay, some discussing about the phases of CBFM. When I say CBFM, that's Community-Based Forest Management Program Development. This is an example also of a collaborative activity where during the initial stages, the DNR, the part of the forest agency, the LGUs, local government unit, and the assisting entities are the key actors which develop resource allocation. So together, the DNR informs and assists. That's how they make it a collaborative work. No? Informs and assists the communities which respond by organizing themselves and showing their commitment towards the project for the forest land. Okay, so DNR, again, and others also assist the communities. So it's always a partnership, no? In community organizing and resource planning, and the process ends when CBFMA or the CADC was issued. CADC is Certificate of Ancestral Domain Claim that is being given to the indigenous communities. So they have the right to protect their ancestral lands. Okay, and the resource management plan is a requirement for them to have that instrument. Okay, there are actually categories of the CBFM. First is the self-initiated sites, locally initiated sites, and national program sites. Self-initiated sites are those which were initiated by the local communities themselves. The locally assisted sites are those being assisted by the local government units, while the national program sites are those being given directly by the DNR, or the National Forest Agency. Okay, so the implementation model, as I have discussed earlier about some of the models, this is